So our chair, Randy Miller, referred to some of your exciting back and forth on cable TV, and a lot of the media attention has come not with fights with Christians, but with new atheists like Sam Harris. And so the question is from the audience is, what's at the heart of the difference in worldviews between a person of faith and a person who chooses not to have faith?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. I won't answer the Sam Harris question, but I will answer that question. First of all, let me just be absolutely clear. There is no proof for the existence of God. Anyone who tells you otherwise is trying to convert you. There is no proof. There's absolutely no proof. Faith is a choice. But it's not an irrational choice. In fact, it doesn't have to be an irrational choice, though it sometimes is. It doesn't have to be an irrational choice. To me, it's simply about three simple propositions. Do you believe that there is something beyond the material world? Do you believe that there is something beyond the material world? Something real, something palpable, something knowable? Do you or don't you? There's no proof either way. It's just a choice. Do you or don't you? If you don't, okay, you're an atheist, good for you. Go along your way. You're probably a very good person. Poll after poll shows that the most moral, the most ethical community in the United States is the atheist community. So good for you. But if you do, if you actually do think that there is something beyond the material world, again, there's no proof. You just do. You just choose to believe it. Great. Then I have a second question for you. Do you want to know that thing? Do you want to experience it? Do you want to commune with it, whatever it is? Do you want to feel it? Yes or no? It's just a choice. Yes or no? If no, you're an agnostic. Good for you. Go about your days. You're probably the most honest of all of us. Right? Because, yeah, nobody knows. You're on the right track. But if you do, well then, here's the other part that comes in. It sort of helps to have a way of talking about that thing. It helps to have some means, some language with which to discuss this thing that is by definition inexpressible. This thing that, whatever it is about as far from what we are as possible. How do you talk about something like that? How do you talk about something that is utterly ineffable, that is by definition unknowable? How do you talk about it to yourself, to other people? You need a language. You need a language to talk about it. And that's where religion comes in. And so choose a language. It doesn't matter. Choose a language, just some way to allow yourself to talk about this thing that is impossible to talk about. So a way to communicate with other people this thing. That's it. It's just, religion is nothing more than a language of symbols and metaphors that allow people of faith, people who've chosen to actually believe, to talk about this thing that they believe. It's all metaphors, all of it is. I'm gonna do a little test, okay? We're gonna do a little test, okay. If I say, I've been washed by the blood of the Lamb, raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so good. This is Portland. Like 6 of you. So, For the rest of you, that sounds, what? You've been washed by the blood of the Lamb? What the hell is wrong with you? What are you talking about? But for those of you who raised your hand, we shared a moment, right? we shared something right there. I just told you something that is inexpressible. I explained an emotion to you that only you and I know. And only you and I could express it. How am I supposed to tell you about that emotion if I don't have words for it? And so what do I use? A metaphor, because that's all it is. It's just a metaphor. It's just a symbol. But that's true of all language. English is made up of just symbols and metaphors that allow us to communicate with each other. So, I'm a person of faith, not because I know there's a God, but because I choose to believe that there's a God. I want to know that God. I want to feel that God. And so I choose a language with which to express that feeling to myself and to everyone else. I am multilingual. I can speak all these religious languages. And to me, they are all absolutely valid. But I choose one of them. I choose Islam. Not because I think Islam is more right or more correct or more true, because it's not. I choose Islam because the metaphors and the symbols that Islam uses to talk about this indeterminate experience of humanity, this relationship between the Creator and creation, are symbols and metaphors that ring true to me, that are more comfortable to me than other symbols and metaphors. That's all. The Buddha once said that if you want to strike water, you don't dig 6 1-foot wells. You dig 1 6-foot well. Islam is my 6-foot well. But I know what the Buddha knows, which is that the water that I am drawing from is the water everybody is drawing from. It's just I prefer my well.